When the cops yelled at the old man, his dog silenced the whole park.
Behind every table, there's a story, and behind every smile, there's a secret. Welcome to the Blackline Stories. Subscribe the channel and let us know where are you watching us from.
They say some people become part of the scenery, like lampposts or bus stops. Joseph Alexander was one of them. Every morning he arrived at Riverbend Park, sat at the far bench near the war memorial, placed a faded photo on the seat beside him, and stared into the horizon. He didn't talk much, didn't move much, just sat quietly, an old black man in a dusty army jacket, a tattered backpack, and worn combat boots. Most walked by without a second glance. But that day, someone looked twice, and everything changed. It began with a misunderstanding. A young mother with a stroller called 911. There's a man near the playground, looks suspicious. Maybe homeless? He's talking to himself. It wasn't malice, it was fear. The kind of fear that grows when people stop asking questions and start assuming answers. 15 minutes later, 2 police officers arrived. Crisp uniforms, blank expressions, clipboard confidence. "Sir, you've been sitting here a while. What are you doing in the park today?" Joseph didn't look up. He simply replied, "Talking to my daughter." The officers exchanged glances. One stepped closer. "Is your daughter here, sir?" Joseph gestured to the photo beside him. A smiling young woman in uniform, Kira Alexander. Marine. Medal recipient, killed in action. "She visits me in the quiet," he said. "This is our bench." The officers stiffened. One looked annoyed, the other puzzled. "Sir, do you have any ID? We've had complaints." By now, passers-by had started to notice. A few slowed. 1 or 2 pulled out phones. A teenager on a skateboard stopped nearby, uneasy. Joseph reached into his coat pocket and slowly pulled out a wallet. Inside, an old Marine Corps ID, worn, cracked, almost transparent. The younger officer scoffed. "This is ancient. Got anything current?" Joseph stayed calm. He'd seen men with rifles and darker hearts. This wasn't even close. But tension thickened like smoke. The crowd grew. Some filming, some whispering. One man muttered, "Just leave him alone." Then came a deep bark from down the path. Heads turned as a large golden Labrador, ears alert, tail wagging, charged toward the bench. One officer stepped in front, hand instinctively going to his holster. "Whose dog is this?" The dog didn't. Slow, didn't hesitate. He reached Joseph, tail spinning like a propeller, and buried his head in Joseph's lap. "Rio," Joseph whispered, tears forming. "I thought I lost you," the crowd murmured. The officers paused. A woman near the back gasped. "That dog, he's from the veteran therapy unit. I've seen him before." A man stepped forward, white hair, sharp suit, powerful presence. "Excuse me. That man's name is Sergeant Joseph Alexander. He saved my life in Iraq, and that dog, Rio, was his assigned PTSD companion. They were separated years ago." The crowd froze. The younger officer took a step back. The older one cleared his throat. "We didn't know." Joseph looked up for the first time. "You never ask." The man in the suit introduced himself. Colonel Howard Grant, retired. He and Joseph had served in the same convoy. Joseph had pulled him from a burning Humvee after an IED blast. The injuries Joseph suffered led to his medical discharge, and eventually, Rio was assigned to help manage his trauma. But after a funding cut in the veterans program, Rio was taken back. Joseph never saw him again, until now. The officers, now red-faced, muttered apologies. But the crowd had already taken over. People approached Joseph with respect, hands extended, voices soft. The teen on the skateboard handed Joseph a bottle of water. The young mother who made the call pushed through, ashamed. I'm sorry. I didn't know." Joseph nodded. "You weren't supposed to know. You were supposed to ask." And then came the twist. Colonel Grant turned to the officers. "Do you know what's really suspicious?" he said, eyes narrowing. "That Joseph's discharge was marked as dishonorable after saving lives and serving 22 years. that he lost his pension, that he was denied treatment for PTSD because of a paperwork error no one corrected. Gasps rippled. The younger cop whispered, "Are you serious?" Colonel Grant nodded grimly. The system buried him. It's time. Someone unearthed the truth. The reporter from Channel 6 who had just arrived perked up. "Can I tell your story, sir?" she asked Joseph. Joseph paused, then said, "Tell it if it helps another soldier not vanish the way I did." The next week, the story exploded. News outlets picked it up. Veteran forums went wild. People demanded answers. The mayor issued an apology. The VA reopened Joseph's case. Within a month, his honorable discharge was restored, along with his full benefits and housing. But something even deeper had changed. The bench became a landmark, not because of a fight, but because a city stopped long enough to see what it almost erased. A bronze plaque was installed. To the warriors who came home invisible, until we chose to see them. Joseph didn't want fame. He just wanted dignity. And with Rio back at his side, sleeping under the bench, tail flicking in dreams, he finally found a measure of peace. One afternoon, as kids played and birds sang, the same teenager from the park, Malik, sat beside him. "You ever get tired?" "Of being brave?" Malik asked. Joseph smiled. "Every damn day." Malik paused. "I want to be someone like you." Joseph looked at him. "Then don't start by being invisible. Start by seeing people others walk past." Epilogue. Months later, Malik started a community storytelling podcast called The Bench, inviting veterans, ex-offenders, single parents, and forgotten voices to share their truth. The first episode, "The Day the Dog," spoke louder than the sirens. Joseph's voice cracked through speakers around the country. The hardest battles aren't fought with bullets. They're fought with kindness, with courage, with choosing to care. So the next time you walk by someone who seems invisible, don't just look, see, because maybe, just maybe, that's how we heal the world.